Hello, and welcome to the history you never saw coming. I'm Anne Lafferty, and I'll be reading from my book, Let All Who Read This Book Be Warned. Today we will discuss the biblical creation story, the recreation, if you will. We have talked about the previous destructions of the earth and the fossil record we have concerning the proof of those destructions, as well as vast monuments built of stone, all that exists now of once thriving citizenship. Today we'll discuss the two people created to actually rule the universe. That's something seldom brought up. We've talked before about the god of this world known as Satan or Lucifer. At one time, though, he ruled the universe, governing with angelic minions, no doubt. We saw how the world he ruled fell into disaster through mismanagement. The Bible calls it sin, and that's just an archer term for missing the mark. No bullseye for you. Today we will see how interference from another realm caused the two humans serious trouble. Maimonides, considered the greatest theologian of rabbinic Judaism, and he lived in the 1100s, states that the biblical story of creation is not literal, but translated into an allegory for the masses. Maimonides sounds kind of stuffy here, but perhaps specific stories have been written for us, not to tell historic detail, but instead couched in symbols to convey a larger prophetic message. We shall see. Adam was created first, and then his wife, Eve, taken out of his body. This is the first construct of marriage, by the way. It's changed, hasn't it? The first recorded words in biblical history, Genesis, concerned marriage. The husband, Adam, inspired of God, discussed the foundations of marriage, in which he was to become one flesh with his wife. Marriage was to be reserved for humans. Jesus said, "The children of this world marry." Human blueprint marriage was to be a type of Christ and his bride, the church. Therefore, the blueprint for human destiny was established for humanity even before their fall from grace. We'll read about that. And was also a prophecy of what would be required to salvage another chaotic destruction of the world in the future. Human marriage was also to establish bonding and to bear children for the future of the race. As we shall see, this would soon become a point of dissension. The garden where Adam was placed was designated a type of temple, foreshadowing the architectural temples of God designed and built through biblical history. You know, the temple in Jerusalem, for example, as well as other temples designed for communion with the gods. Where was Eden located? Ezekiel said it was on a mountain, the seat of the gods on earth, the place for Yahweh's divine council. The two humans were included within that divine council. We will see that mountains play a large part in the future locations of the gods and their jealous guarding of these high places. Rabbi Tugman, director of Old Shadash Torah Institute, says that early Hebrew scholars believed the Garden in Eden was located somewhere in the land we now call Israel, bordered by the river of Egypt to the Euphrates. When we check the scriptures, we find that according to Ezekiel, when Messiah returns and sets up his earthly kingdom, the land of Israel will be restored like the Garden of Eden. In view of the ancient and present contentions over the tiny land of Israel, Palestine, perhaps it is indeed the location of the original garden. According to Sir Isaac Newton, who was fluent in both Hebrew and Latin, the word temple is related to time. He believed that the dimensions of the two temples in Jerusalem and Ezekiel's temple vision were related to God's divine template for the fulfillment of prophecy. Newton discovered the means of calculus, and he was much interested in movement through time. Maimonides wrote that time is an accident, consequent upon motion, and is necessarily attached to it. Time cannot exist without the construct of matter, for that matter. The tetragrammaton of God's unspeakably holy name, we call it Yahweh, but is YHWH in English, which means he was, he is, and he will be, a movement through time. That which is above and will yet be duplicated below, as we shall see in temple structures. Although the words as above, so below are considered occultic, they are quite true. Rabbinic narrative in the Talmud and the Midrash during the medieval period conceived a certain related rule. Future events will mirror past events. In other words, what happened to the forefathers will be assigned to their children after them. A scriptural event can predict all future events pertaining to it. Some ancient cultures postulated time as cyclical, not linear. What goes around comes around. We'll talk about this again on Friday, and remember, never lose your ambition to think.